before we get to the interview, we have some beers to drink from Beer Boys. Right. They have 72 beers on tap, and they give us these wonderful crowlers each week, which are these huge cans that you can take home with you, whatever your favorite beer may be. Now tonight, we didn't even communicate about this, so it just kind of worked out that way. They figured for Valentine's Day, we're gonna give them all chocolate beers. So tonight we have 3 different chocolate beers. We have Terrapin Liquid Bliss, we have Blockhouse Double Chocolate Bock, and Troegs Nitro Chocolate Stout. So I've already opened the Terrapin Liquid Bliss, which I looked these up beforehand because I wanted to see what the difference was between all of them. This is a porter, which is dark and smooth, has chocolate and peanut butter in it.
What?
So that's the perfect Valentine's Day beer. So I figured that's a good one to start with. You guys both want some of this?
Yes. Please.
Reese's Cups beer.
I figured you would.
Up, yeah.
Let me. I got criticized last time for my pouring skills, that I didn't tip the cup. 'Cause people pay more attention to that stuff than they do the interviews sometimes, I think.
How you're pouring the beer.
Yeah, exactly. It's like we get more comments about that than actual questions about the people on the show, which is funny. But here you go.
At least you know they're
You're welcome.
paying attention. Watch his hands. Gotta watch his hands, everybody. That's what I want to see.
Cheers.
Cheers.
You can smell the chocolate.
Wow.
That's pretty good.
That is. It's remarkable.
And
I dig it.
The peanut butter kind of comes like right after.
It does.
Yeah, it's really smooth. I want to pour this over some cereal.
You really could.
Yeah.
So thank you, Beer Boys. This is a good one to start with.
Yes.
And it's a 6.1, so it hides it really well.
Definitely.
Well, I'm not driving, so it's okay.
We also want to give a shout out to our other sponsor, the V Spot in Scranton. One of the most popular bars in northeastern Pennsylvania with live entertainment every night of the week. This week, they have Nowhere Slow Duo tonight. We had them on our podcast a couple of weeks ago. If you missed that, you can see the episode on NEPAscene.com. Dustin Drevich, who we also had on the show with his band, The Electric Gentleman, is on Thursday. Destination West is playing Friday. Black Tie Stereo is Saturday. And Karaoke with DJ Huff is Sunday. Our little gig that we do there on Tuesday nights will be back at the end of next month. So we'll plug that as it gets closer, but we won't spend too much time on that.
No.
We also want to shout out to the Keys in downtown Scranton. Their open mic is on Thursday, and this Saturday is a free show with Days in Transit, Idolizer, and the Mezzos. So at first I was like, the Mentos, but no, the Mezzos.
That'd be a great show until someone orders a Diet Coke.
Then it all goes down. And by the way, if you want to sponsor the show, if you know a small business owner or somebody in the area, that's really who we primarily like to work with, people who understand what we're doing here and want to be part of the greater northeastern Pennsylvania community. So if you or your business or anybody that you know wants to sponsor the show, we would love to have some more sponsors to plug coming up. But all right, so now we've got that out of the way. Before we get into all the lovey-dovey Valentine's Day stuff, we want to start with just introducing yourselves to these fine people who may or may not be familiar with your work. So let's start with how you got into music and comedy, respectively.
Do you want to start?
Sure. The way I always thought that I got into comedy is because I used to be obsessed with trains, right? And I would watch Thomas the Tank Engine religiously. And if you recall, the conductor of Thomas the Tank Engine was George Carlin for a while.
Yes.
So I think it was some element of postnatal exposure to George Carlin that just kind of I gravitated towards it. And then when I was, 10 or 11, my grandma gave me one of his tapes. I think it was might have been complaints and grievances, but
It's a good one to start with.
yeah. And from that point on, it was just like, I don't know. I didn't actually do it. Well, technically, I started doing stand-up in the 3rd grade because I did it at a local talent show, like a school talent show.
Oh, okay.
And I took some time off to focus on my education. And then I got back into it. I was 20, and a friend and I had gone to see Lewis Black, and we were just like, that seems wonderful, because we had gotten to the point where we couldn't yell our ideas at each other anymore. So we just decided we would find other people to yell at. And then we started going up to the open mic at Wisecrackers, and just kind of have been doing it since then.
That's very much changed as well now. Do they still do it? Because they moved up to the casino.
Yeah.
Years later. Do they still do an open mic?
They do. They're running this kind of like a hybrid showcase comedy class.
Okay.
Called The Lab. I believe it's on Thursday nights. Terry Granahan runs that, I'm fairly certain. I don't know all the details, but I know, she's great to work with. Scott Bruce is, one of the first people that ever paid me to tell jokes to people.
I know Kyle Demko's playing up there all the time. At least I thought he was, the casino.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's an open mic. He does run an open mic. I think there's one this evening, actually.
Yes, he does run one on Wednesdays. I'm not sure what the venue is off the top of my head anyway.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But so you've continued with the open mics from there and stuff. And,
Yeah.
done full shit. We met through a really interesting show. It was at the Irish Cultural Center.
Oh man, that was a great show.
It was actually I wasn't sure how it was going to go.
Me neither.
It was a weird connection. So at this point, NEPA Scene had right away we started getting into the open mic stuff by doing the thing at the Woodlands, and you weren't there for that yet.
No, I have kind of a moratorium on going to open mics at the Woodlands.
I can see why. The Woodlands was not always the best to work with. It was a little tough. So we ended up moving it, which we started at Thirsties, and that's when you heard about us, and you came to the very first one, I believe. Did you come to the first one?
Yeah.
Or you might have come to the first one, maybe the second one. I think you were there.
I was at the first one. It was, I remember Skip Monday one, the first night.
Yeah, that's right.
I was there.
Skip
I remember,
Monday.
trust me, I remember that night, it changed my life. I'm not even trying to be...
We'll get into that. we'll get there. We don't want to
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, we don't want to jump ahead. Stay tuned.
I remember that night.
Like it was yesterday.
And then the whole screen goes. So when did you start getting into music then?
Well, I met my best friend in 3rd grade.
The 3rd grade is a pivotal moment for you.
I can remember that day just as clear as I remember the first NEPA Scene mic. But I want to say we met in the 3rd, maybe 6th or 7th grade. We started playing music. I remember taking flute lessons in 6th grade because the other elective, which I can't even remember. Oh, just a normal music class. The teacher was out of her mind. So I took band, and I couldn't read music I still can't. I play everything by ear. But maybe a couple years after that, I played the drums, but just sticks on a chair. and then I had a Yamaha electric kit.
Yeah.
And I was good. I was all right. But my dad had a guitar that he had when he was in Vietnam and had 2 strings on it, which there's this long story that goes back saying that I took the guitar into the bathtub and broke it. I swear to you, it wasn't me, but my mom's probably laughing right now and saying, yes, it was. It wasn't. It was my sister. I don't care. That's who did it. But...
siblings are good at framing you for stuff.
Well, I had this guitar with like 2 strings on it, and it sounded like crap because, apparently somebody took it in the tub. And I just kind of, I figured out the intro to Coma White by Marilyn Manson. And then I went on to getting like a starter guitar, and then my dad was like, she needs a real one.
Okay.
She's good. So, I don't know, like I probably more professionally when I started turning like 13 or 14, I would do like talent shows and organized talent shows.
Yeah.
I used to play at the hospital until that closed down, and like other random anyone that would get me in playing. A lot of playing, and my friend Rose Catchmore, she's a really good friend of mine, in her living room. We actually had a band called Of the Room because that's where we played. Yeah, so been playing quite some time. I finally, like, just now, getting into, I have Candy V, and that's awesome because she's great.
Yeah.
I had someone tell me last Friday when we played at the Keys, they're like, you guys have like a super group. Thank you. I mean, with Candy, I definitely see that, but thank you. That's awesome. But we got Nick from Wallalule, and I'm sorry if I said that wrong.
Yeah, I've debated on how that's pronounced every time that I've read it.
But he was also the drummer for Just Blush.
Yes.
So he's with us now, and he's phenomenal.
And they're on hiatus, I think, aren't they? Just Blush?
I think they were taking like a little hiatus.
Yeah, a
I don't
break
know
or
for
something
sure.
like that. So that's cool. So you have a trio together then?
Now we have a trio. Asteria Falling. That's what we. I had a conversation with Jamie Kelly from Kelly Ma in the Garland of Arms, and I love that band name. And I was talking to her on Facebook. Been talking a lot recently. They're helping us hardcore. They're awesome. But I asked her, how did you get that name? Like, that's a really cool name. Well, Kali Ma is the god of, what is it? Do you know? You don't know? She's
The god of being in Indiana Jones movies?
yeah, that, like, I guess of arms or whatever. But she was dressing up as her for Halloween.
Okay.
With, like, a garland of arms and said, oh my god. So, I started thinking about what I like, I really like stars and astrology. And so I looked up what the god of stars is, and that would be the god Asteria. And then Asteria Falling, boom, there it is. So years and years trying to figure out a band name, we finally got it. And now we're recording with Kali Ma. They're helping us out. So we're going to have a single soon.
Nice.
Get some merch done and everything. Hopefully get some more shows booked.
I know a place you could premiere that song.
Oh, yeah. This fabulous place, NEPA Scene.
Oh.
Right? No. NEPA? Don't throw me off like this, Rich. This beer's already getting to me. I had a Long Island iced tea at Chili's.
Oh, okay.
Only one.
Well, technically it's 5.
Yeah.
So Long Island iced tea.
I didn't even know. I got really nervous, and then when she asked me what I wanted to drink, so I just said that because it was the first thing I saw.
Oh, okay.
I do that sometimes. I get really nervous. I'm just like, this, I'll take that.
That's dangerous. Well, we've got 2 more of these to go through, unless the crew here wants in on some of this. You guys want some of this? All right. I saw some heads perk up. All right. All right. We
have enough cups to play flip cup.
That's true. This is going to turn into a whole different show. Real fast.
I was thinking, and I didn't mention this to you, but I was like, wouldn't it be cool if we brought Munchkin and we were sitting here playing Munchkin while we were doing it?
Oh my god.
Do you know what that is? You ever play Munchkin before?
Yeah.
It's my favorite game. If you don't know what it is, Munchkin's amazing, and they have a million expansions.
This episode of the NEPA Scene Podcast brought to you by Munchkin. Munchkin. It's like Magic the Gathering, but sane.
Oh, that's why I love him.
So let's go to that first open mic that you guys went to. What was your first impression of it? Honestly, you can tell me.
Oh, jeez.
You
Well,
went with friends, right?
Listen,
At least like a posse?
That's true. I mean,
Yeah, you went with a
comedians,
whole
yeah,
bunch of
we
people.
clump together. So
Yeah, you stand-up comedians usually stick together.
yeah, and I mean, I had heard nothing but good things about you and about the event from like Dan Hoppel, whoever else. I think Eric Drexler was going to it at the Woodlands. But like everybody I was talking to had said it was really fun. But like I said, it's the Woodlands. I've had bad experiences there before, so. So once it moved over to Thursdays, I was like, hey, half the distance. All my friends are going to be there. Heck yeah. And like I was struck pretty much immediately, like how like open it's always been. Like I've never seen you turn somebody away. Like
Even though there were a few times that I've won.
there's times you probably should have, but you will not do it.
Absolutely not.
I really admire that.
None of the interesting performances. I don't regret seeing any of them.
Oh, certainly not. I just meant in terms of we're here. It's 1:30 in the morning.
Right.
The 27th performer does not know what the light means, and he's been up there for 20 minutes.
Oh gosh, that's true. Yeah, sometimes that happens.
Yeah, but I mean, it's always been a great time.
Yeah.
Like, it's always just. I love that it's brought so many like people together from so many different communities.
And that was really the whole purpose from the beginning, was to bring music and comedy together, and we've now done that quite literally.
Yeah, I mean, I literally wouldn't have had him, and then I wouldn't have found a band, essentially. So, because I went by myself, I didn't have any friends. Like I have good friends, but they're all living somewhere else, and
Right.
Life. So, like, who wants to go to the bar? And they live in Wilkes-Barre in the middle of the week, So, I remember going, walking in, and I remember seeing Andrew and Amber from Iron Attraction. And I was like, oh, great. Like, really good musicians are in this room. Like, they're going to watch me play. And then I started hanging out with Amber and meeting a lot of musicians like Shiny and Grant Williams, just becoming really good friends with them, and of course meeting Ted.
Yeah.
This one.
What was your first impression?
My first impression. All right, I'll be honest.
Yeah,
Please.
this is probably the first he's hearing this.
No, I remember when I asked you to hang out with me. Back then, and Rich probably remembers. Mm-hmm. I was in a little duo called Hoppy Slap Mess.
Yes.
And that's exactly what it was. What I was.
Yeah.
And when I asked you to hang out with me, like I didn't think like that's someone I'm gonna date. Like I just wanted to hang out. I was like, oh okay, whatever. Like he's cute. He's funny. So it probably wasn't. It wasn't until like March 25th was NEPA Scene. That was the first one. And then our first, like, date was June 12th. So it took a little... I think it was, like...
We had to bump into each other a couple times.
Sure.
We hung out, and, like, that next Tuesday was the first finals.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Because, like, hanging out with... seeing you at the finals was, like, that awkward, like, oh, my God, they're... Like,
oh, yeah, I remember that.
I totally hung out with him the other night. Oh, my God. And, like, does he like me? Like, we haven't really talked since then. And I'm like, oh, my gosh. Like, I can't... I got to perform on stage in front of, like, him.
And, of course, I just went, like, full Nixon paranoia. Like, is she just trying to get in my head to take me out of the finals?
That didn't cross my mind. That didn't cross my mind at all.
Oh, well.
That competitive nature kicks in.
Yeah.
As long as I get in the finals, like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I just like being along the ride for the whole thing.
Right.
Yeah. And being part of that final showcase is, like, delightful. No matter...
Obviously, like, winning would be so cool. But, like, I know that there's, like Mal Soul... Those guys, if I said it wrong, I'm sorry. You guys are awesome. Those guys are awesome. They're so much fun. We had them playing at the Keys last weekend. Totally, I think they totally deserved it. They're a lot of fun. They get the crowd going.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, definitely. They're a blast, and it's like real high quality performance too. Like very tight.
Yep.
Right.
You have to really treat it like, everything's going to be a learning experience.
Right.
Everything's going to help you grow as an artist, that kind of stuff. Like that's what open mics are for, I think, in general. And a lot of like it's interesting because the more bands that we have on the show and the more we kind of talk about how they got started and stuff like that, bands like Cabinet that are extremely successful, they're on hiatus now for who knows how long, if they are not coming back or whatever. But I mean, these guys were written up in Rolling Stone. Like these guys, have their own festival at the Pavilion, at Montage, which who knows if that's coming back or not. But I mean, they did several successful years of that, bringing in national acts and things like that. They've toured the country, that kind of thing. They all started an open mic, at the River Street Jazz Cafe. So it's something that, people I think take, they look at that stuff and they go, oh, that's for amateurs. I'm going to be, a big star. I don't need that kind of thing. But you really need that kind of stuff to understand how to work with different crowds and things like that. I mean, we've had some wild people at some of these events and things like that, and sometimes that gets out of hand, and people treat open mic performers, I think, differently than other acts as well, which is always an issue to deal with, but at the end of the day, I think like people get a lot out of it in the long run,
For sure.
whether they realize it or not at the time.
I feel like there's definitely a tempering process in front of open mics, because if you can get up there and you can do your best to 6 people that couldn't give a shit,
Right.
Like if you can get enough like willpower behind yourself to do that, then you can do it pretty much wherever. And I feel like just that repetition over and over, it just like that builds like the foundations that you need, because you see like a lot of people that they just want to jump right into it. Like
Right. How does that help you guys grow, do you think, as artists, going to these types of things? And not just ours, I don't want it to be a whole like plug for what we're doing, but other ones as well.
Right. Well, for me, with comedy, it has to be like there's a certain element that requires feedback. Like the analogy I always use is like you can play guitar in a tower for 15 years and come out and be insane at guitar. But you can write jokes in a tower for 15 years and come out and no one knows what the hell you're talking about.
That's a good point.
So like you have to gauge feedback, and I think in that sense, I mean obviously you need feedback for music as well, but like just in terms of how integral it is to like the writing process, I think.
Sometimes I feel like it's easier for music because you always you have to feel out the room and what, if they're digging it or not.
Right.
Sometimes it's easier to keep attention with like a musician.
Right.
If you're in a bar at an open mic and you see this all the time, where people are just talking over the comedian.
Right.
And I mean, who's the best at it? Eric Drexler, probably. He's the best at telling them to shut up. I love it. You got this little elf dude screaming.
Yeah, he's got that big booming voice.
But the best thing too is, Russell's got that wireless mic. He'll walk around. You've done it,
yes,
and talk right to the people that are talking during the set.
Right.
They won't even know that you're behind them.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I can't tell you how many times we've done these events. We have our banners hanging everywhere. We plug the website a million times, and I feel like very self-indulgent doing it. So I try not to do it as much. And then somebody in the back's going, "What is this thing? What is this? What's an NEPA scene? What are you guys doing something over there?" Like, this whole thing has been going on for hours and hours, 10 feet away from you, and you still don't know.
What is it? The Pool League Awards ceremony tonight? Like.
Yeah, it could be frustrating, and I get that, like even though I'm not an artist in the same way that you guys are an artist, us being related in that arts and entertainment vein, it's the same thing of trying to shout out into the void and get a response back, in some form or another.
Yeah.
It can be frustrating sometimes.
Even if that response is just,
Right. What you say?
Well, I see you talking about this a lot. People sometimes are like, "Oh, really? Is the $5 cover tonight?"
Right. All the time I see that.
And sometimes I do feel bad when I'm like people maybe that I work with or just other friends, and I'm just like, "Oh, come out tonight. It'll be an awesome show." And there's a cover tonight, but it's only $5. But yeah, a lot of times people are like, "Really? Like that's so weird. Why do I have to pay to go into this bar?" Well, like the money, I think it was even the finals we had that.
Yes.
Yep. I mean, I didn't hear the whole thing.
We have that struggle pretty much every time we do.
Yeah, and I'm
finals.
just like, dude, like, how do you think we're it's not easy. People like what you do and what like any of us do. It's still a job.
Right.
Like lugging in equipment.
Yeah.
Setting up a sound system.
And people don't realize like you're paying for all that out of your own pocket.
Yeah.
So your guitar breaks a string, you gotta go buy strings. You need a new guitar, you gotta go pay for that out of your own pocket.
At Northeast Music Center.
Yes. Please sponsor us, Northeast Music Center.
Do it.
Speaking of sponsors, we'll pop open another one of these. Were we gonna go with the double chocolate Bach or the Trogs Nitro chocolate stout?
I don't know.
Let's go with the Bach.
Yeah,
Is that
Bach.
it? Like
Okay.
Sebastian Bach?
Yeah. Not exactly the same, but we'll go with it.
I had Ted hooked on the Gilmore Girls, and he's actually on that show.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's randomly on that show.
Yeah.
It's so weird. And you know what? I kind of have the feeling like he just walked onto the set one day and didn't realize
It
like
kind
what
of
he
feels
was.
like that.
Right.
It's the same way when he's on Trailer Park Boys. What I love about that is like now in my head canon, those are the same universe.
Ah,
So like,
yes.
I'm one of these days I'm gonna sit down and write the Trailer Park Boys Gilmore Girls crossover fic, and it's gonna be glorious.
It would be pretty amazing.
I did a phone interview with Sebastian Bach many years ago.
Oh damn!
I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 years ago now. He was playing at the arena. He was opening for somebody, and I call him. He picks it. Now you set this stuff up in advance. Like you have to talk to their promoter and the manager, whoever, and figure out a time that they're going to be available and all that kind of stuff, and figure it out. And so they must have given me his cell number, I guess. He picks up and he's like, "Hello, who's this?" I'm like, "Oh, the interview, whatever." I have an interview? No clue. Didn't seem like he knew where he was or what he was doing. He was a very nice guy. I mean, he was a good conversation once we got going. But he spent the first 5 minutes trying to figure out, is this a prank? Is this somebody who's fucking with me?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
He was answering things really vague, almost with a question mark at the end of everything. It was a weird fucking interview. And I've had some very weird interviews, but
Who's the weirdest person you've ever interviewed, or the weirdest interview you've ever done? I should say.
Well, I've had some where it wasn't necessarily oh, I think this person is particularly great or anything like that. I'm going to interview them because that's what we do. We cover everybody, so we're just gonna do that kind of thing. Now, one guy was really I love Alice in Chains, great band. So somehow I was able to get an interview with Jerry Cantrell. Now, he doesn't do many interviews, and I could see why. Because the manager spent a good portion of time in advance telling me through emails, he is not very easy to talk to, and if he hangs up on you, that's normal. It's not your fault. As if he was giving me emotionally coaching me for this for this conversation. And I'm like, oh God, I'm terrified now to call this guy and talk to him, because he's gonna shit on me and hang up on me or something like that, for asking the wrong question or whatever. So I mean, I really, if I'm doing one of those types of interviews, I do a lot of research, and I really try not to ask them the same questions they've been asked 1,000 times and stuff like that. And then we did the interview, and he loved it. He was so into it, and he was really into the conversation. He kept telling me all this stuff, and he stopped mid-sentence, and because we were talking about one of the songs at the time, they had a new album out with the new singer and everything like that. And he said, you know, I always fucking hate talking about what the songs are about and stuff, but you got me to do it. You're really good at what you're doing.
Oh, that's
And I took that as like the biggest compliment. Like, not only did I get this guy who normally hates being interviewed to talk to me, but that he also was that into the conversation.
Right.
Yeah,
He was giving up stuff that normally he wouldn't, give to, peon like myself. So I was appreciative of
That's
that.
awesome.
That was like a weird, so bad, it was good kind of thing. It was awkward at first, but it ended up, being really cool. My big one to take on is I really want to interview Maynard James Keenan at some point.
Oh man.
And I was actually very close once. I was talking to his people, and we went back and forth and whatever, and then they just stopped responding. So I don't know what, fell through there or whatever, but I was very close to talking to him one time, because I know he's the same way. He does not like being interviewed. He likes to, mess with the press and, give them, false answers. He'll give somebody one answer and somebody else a completely different answer and that kind of stuff. So I kind of look at that as a challenge, but I also grew up with his music. He's one of the big guys that really got me into listening to that type of music. So I really wanted to talk to him at some point. So I'm hoping I'll get there.
I believe in you.
I'm sure we could do it.
Give up your secrets, Maynard.
At the very least, just be nice to me and don't hurt my little journalist feelings.
Unburden yourself to this man.
We're you have to have a tough skin in this business, and but we're all really just very sensitive, artists underneath, and we cry when people hurt our feelings and stuff. So,
Yeah.
Please, Maynard,
90% of
don't
it
hurt
is-
my feelings.
90% of it's just making it out of eye shot.
Pretty much. This is terrifying. I hate being on camera, and I hate people seeing my face. It's weird, but I think it's important for us to do this too, because now in the era of everything being labeled fake news and people shitting on every kind of media whatsoever, no matter how you do a story, no matter how you handle a story, people feel like you didn't do it right, and I should have done it this way, even though they have no experience in that business whatsoever. And I'm sure you guys get the same thing.
Yeah.
You should be funnier. Well, okay, you get up here and do this. That type of thing.
Yeah.
So we get that kind of stuff sometimes, but but I'm going off topic. This is not about me. This is not about you guys. Point being, so we want to get into your proposal was at another open mic, Jess Mioni's open mic, Girls Night, which is coming up soon. Ale Mary's. Is that this Friday, this Saturday? Probably should have
The
looked that up
16th,
beforehand.
right? Is that
Something
this
like-
Friday?
Yeah, I think that's this Friday. So
I'm actually not in this one.
you're not in this one, but you
No.
you were playing this night. Ted was coming out to see you.
Yeah, well, I harassed you guys on the podcast
Yes.
and had people from work, because you were giving away tickets to Dashboard, which
That's right. Yeah.
if you couldn't tell by the emo hair that he's attempting to have,
Yeah.
he really likes them.
I'm
So
I'm a not so closet sad boy.
Slash Gangster, it's pretty cool. This guy can rap.
Yeah.
He can bust a beat. But anyway,
You're a rap fan too. You like
A little bit, yeah.
but anyhow, yeah, I was trying to win those tickets, which we got.
Yeah.
Then I was at the open mic. I was going to propose to him at the concert, which is why I wanted the tickets. And as we were sitting there, or in the room, I was like, all my friends are here. I'm just going to do it now. So I go up to Jess Mioni, and I whisper in her ear what I'm going to do. And she thought that I wanted to bring Ted up to, sing or perform or something.
Okay.
And she was like, yeah, that's fine. And I was like, I don't really think she understood what I said. So I leaned in again. I was like, and I said, I'm going to ask him to marry me at the end of my set. And she just squealed. She's adorable. I love her. So, and we'll have to get into more. We're very unconventional with this wedding.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah.
I asked him.
Right, which I think is pretty cool. Was that that was a shock to you? I'd imagine.
Yeah.
You don't really expect that.
I was waiting, and I waited too long. So I was like, I'll just ask you then.
Yeah. Because I was just kind of over there chewing my fingernails because I didn't know what her ring size was. I get stuck on stuff real easy.
Right.
See, I didn't
Katie's
have
if
a ring.
Yeah. Katie's like, if I want this to happen,
I had concert
ever,
tickets. I actually had a friend, my friend Michaela. She is a general manager at a Gibson McDonald's up in very far away.
Yeah.
I saw her the other day, showing her this beautiful ring, and she's like, "Well, what did you get him?" And I said, "Me. That's what I got me."
Yes.
But it was really funny when I proposed to him. It was right after our set, so I think he thought I was gonna bring him up to sing. We do Dashboard.
Hands down.
Hands down, we do that together, and it's disgustingly cute. I think that's what he thought we were going to do. But I handed Candy V, and if you see your recording of it,
Yes.
Candy is in the background with her hair in her face, holding her bass and my guitar.
Very awkwardly.
Very
too.
awkwardly.
Just
She's like, oh
Guardian.
shit, I'm stuck here, and now I've got to sit here through this entire thing.
the best
Can't
thing
go
ever.
anywhere.
I wouldn't want it any other way. Not one way. And I don't even think I got it all the way out of my mouth before someone was like, everyone started screaming.
Yeah.
That room sounded like we were sold out in the arena down the street or whatever. Like, it was so loud in that room. So I got this ring. This ring was made from my mother's. It was my mother's.
Oh, that's so nice.
So I had that redone. I love the emerald. I'm Irish. So it's sentimental value to it.
Sure.
And I posted a picture online. This is where we're more into how unconventional we are.
Yeah.
And my friend's mother, Annette Carlson, hello, called me out for having it on the wrong hand.
Ah.
And at the time I was like, oh, I just didn't know any better. So I was actually wearing it on the other hand for a while. And I honestly it did not feel right. So Friday at the show, I don't even remember who it was because let's be honest, everyone was buying me shots. But somebody was like, screw that, you asked him to marry you. You wear that ring where you want to wear it.
That's right.
That's right.
So back on the hand where it feels right. And that's where it's going to be.
Okay.
And the last thing about us, completely unconventional, is that we're actually taking our honeymoon before the wedding.
Oh, okay.
My
When are you going to that?
Well, my brother messaged me. He lives up in Boston. He works at a place called Rapid 7. It's like a malware company.
Okay.
He was like, all right, so you guys can either go on a cruise that I'll pay for or Boston Calling. Have you heard of it?
Yes, the festival.
Yes. Or I'll get,
Actually, the Menzingers from Scranton are playing that.
Yes, they are.
Playing that festival.
along with like Eminem, the Decemberists,
Yes.
Manchester Orchestra, Jack White.
David Cross.
David Cross just
reason.
added this morning. It was added or something. So
that's gonna be
naturally,
Yeah.
that's what we chose.
Of course.
And it's like the weekend before our wedding. So hopefully I make it back home for the wedding.
Right.
We don't end up on some New England hangover type stuff.
Or maybe we'll just stay
Oh,
there and
no.
go to school because it is,
Katie's fell asleep on the Decemberist tour bus. Now we have to track them back
No,
to the
Jack
forest
White's.
home
Jack
and
White's
try
tour
and
bus.
negotiate her release.
Totally Jack White's tour bus if it's going to be anybody's. But if I have to give any, I need to say this, any credit at all for this wedding?
Yeah.
Because probably 85% of the people who are invited are all like NEPA Scene. Like, you're the one that's marrying us. But like, there's comedians and bands, alike throughout this
Galore.
whole scene.
Yes.
My mom has literally, like, she is organizing it pretty much, putting everything together, paid for most of it, thank God. She's been, like, absolutely amazing with everything. So I had to definitely shout her out. I told her she should have been here because
Yeah, definitely.
she, like, it is our wedding, but it's, it's the, I had a sister. I still kind of do, but she didn't get to have this kind of wedding for her. So this
Right.
is very exciting for her. and people are like, compare, like, are you like Bridezilla? Are you very picky? I'm like, actually, like, it's been the easiest process ever. Like, everything is just falling into place ever so nicely. Like, and your wife hooked us up with like a cake. The dress is done. Like, everything's pretty much done. So it's gonna be a party. Are you gonna dress up like Obi-Wan Kenobi? It was his only request.
You don't have.
If that is what you want, I will make it happen.
I realized that it wouldn't make a lot of sense unless everyone dressed like Jedi, and I can't. They're not gonna let that happen.
We were talking
I'll tell you what.
with the themed wedding.
Dress like Tarkin.
Okay.
That'll work. I just like an Imperial Navy uniform.
I think I look a little more like Tarkin than I do Obi-Wan. So I'll,
yes.
But I'm going to send my CG replacement.
Oh no!
It's not going to be me. It's going to Lucasfilm is going to pay for
the Tarkin 1000.
Yes. That's the weird, creepy robot type thing that stood in for him
God,
for Rogue
that was
One.
Unsettling.
Yeah, I don't know.
It looked like
it
looked like a descendant of Elsa from Frozen.
Yeah,
that was just my thought. Just something in the face. It had that Disney magic. They only know how to make one kind of eyes.
We need I think if they had done it a few years later, the technology would have been there. It's like almost there, but we're not quite at that point yet where we can create humans effectively.
No. Almost. We're closing on it rapidly.
Speaking of which, so I have my my dudism certificate.
Nice.
That's awesome.
To be able to officiate people. But then I looked it up, did some more research because that's the kind of guy I am, a nerd about this kind of stuff, and found that Pennsylvania is actually one of the few people that don't recognize, one of the states that don't recognize anything online.
No.
So I have to,
so
I have to go somewhere else to get. I will be ordained before then, but I could not be.
I'm sorry. I feel that.
I was like, damn it! I wanted it to be because I'm not a religious guy, so. I'm not going to church. I will never set foot in another church again if I don't have to.
Pennsylvania.
Not a church guy. So
take
it's a little bit
6 years
tougher.
of priesthood training for us. Jeez, we're actually asking for one thing. No, I'm just kidding.
Only if it's the Jedi Order. But even then, like, it didn't work out too well for them. So
No,
I don't know if I really
it certainly didn't. Thousands of years of hubris and kidnapping did not work out well.
See, that's the difference between being a kid fan of Star Wars and an adult fan of Star Wars. When you're a kid, you're like, I want to be a Jedi. This looks so fun. This is going to be great. And as an adult, you're like, they're just a creepy fucking cult, and they fail at everything they do. Like, I don't want anything. I don't want a part of this at all.
They're telekinetic sociopaths.
Exactly. Like, they're so weird. Like, I don't know if I want to be a part of that. But it's we did get some comments. Russell said that he was there at the proposal.
Yes,
and he had a few tears. So we
He's
made
such a
Russell
sensitive
Austin cry.
fella.
We made Satan cry. If you've seen the show, he appeared as on the show as Satan. So that's. Eric Drexler said, instead of rice, we're throwing NEPA Scene buttons. So we're goggles.
Yes. That's so
we're
perfect.
goggles.
No, my request was glitter, but the lady where we're getting married was like, no glitter.
Oh yeah, she was militantly anti-glitter. She was like, very, very pleasant in all respects, except two. There was a fish tank that she despises. There's a fish tank in the venue.
Cool.
It's a sweet fish tank. It's like 100-gallon fish tank. Really cool setup.
Yeah.
But it's like right in the center of everything.
Okay.
So this woman was like, I can't do anything about the fish tank. So don't even ask me. It's stuck there. And it's like, clearly this woman wakes up every morning, looks in the mirror, and is like, if I have to go and look at that fucking fish tank one more time. But it was that and glitter. She was like, we'll never successfully clean up glitter.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
If I was going to be Bridezilla, something it'd be the glitter, but whatever.
Just use confetti.
A unicorn is my spirit animal.
It's the herpes of the craft world.
It's really funny.
I hate glitter.
Also, Katie, your mother says don't get smashed. Okay, so.
Oh,
Don't you worry.
Mom, and your how is this Chardonnay treating you this
I'll
evening?
keep an eye on her. Don't you worry.
She's gonna kill me.
Don't let her get into any
I love you,
shenanigans.
Don't get smashed, please.
Catherine.
Our friend Joe Craig says honeymoon in reverse.
That would have been a good band name too.
Oh my gosh, when I saw Always Undecided, I was so mad. I'm like, come on, that's perfect. That would have been perfect for my band name. But I didn't think of it.
Damn you, Kyle.
No, he's a cool dude.
Yeah, he's a really cool dude. He's another one that we just met on this round of events now that we're at the V Spot.
Mm-hmm.
So go support the V Spot. This is awesome. And I think the events are better than ever at the V Spot.
Yeah, their food, their cheesesteaks, they have the best cheesesteaks ever. Like, better than going down to Philly and get your cheese whiz steak. No,
Go for the cheesesteaks, stay for the entertainment.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yes. Their dillas are good too, though. They get $5 dillas on Tuesday. At least on the mic there was. I don't know if they still... They probably do, right? Every Tuesday.
Lisa Petz also commented.
She's our photographer.
Oh, okay.
LP.
She and a great wedding photographer. Too.
Yes, Lisa Petz Photography. Check it out. If you're getting married or
said,
anything.
You three are absolutely amazing. Can't wait to come and photograph all you beautiful people. This will be the wedding of the year. It certainly will be.
Oh my gosh.
You gotta do a live stream.
I feel like we have to like cover it like
You
we would like a
probably
regular
should.
event. You know,
I
like,
think you probably should, because I feel like I was having some death threats if they weren't getting invites. I'm not even kidding. Like Friday at the Keys, it felt like these people received a golden ticket because they had the save a date. Which did you see them?
Yes, I did.
Did you like that?
I did.
Do you know
loved
who
it.
did that?
Who?
Kellyanne, little
Oh,
Be
yes.
Daring.
Yes.
She does the open mic at the Wonderstone every last Sunday of the month. Mm-hmm. I might be wrong, and if I am, I'm so sorry, Kelly. But
And
I
does she
know
still do the one at Adezo?
at
as well?
Adezo, which is the last Wednesday of every month.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. And I'm actually at the 24th. There's an open mic at the Wonderstone Gallery that Elliot and I'm featuring at. So that's before the Keys at the Wonderstone Gallery in Dunmore.
Oh,
Yeah, double duty that day.
that's rad.
Oh, by the way.
Yeah, I didn't know about that.
Vinny from the V Spot must have his ears must have been ringing for us talking about him. He said Demko is playing Parade Day too. So
Parade Day, I'm actually doing a benefit for my friend Michaela, who's up that Gibson McDonald's. Her father has a tumor and is going through with the surgery. So there is March 10th, Saturday. It's in Thompson, Pennsylvania. It's kind of out there. I think that's considered Susquehanna County. I'm not sure. I could be wrong. But there is a bake sale, and then it's from 9 to 3, but from noon to 3, I'll be there performing some tunes.
yes.
Selected hits of the 80s, 90s, and today.
So I feel like I should get more NEPA scene related things printed in time for the wedding, so that like we have favors and things.
Oh, that would be
We should get some kind of Jess Mione handles our buttons, so she'll have to get buttons to throw at people.
I didn't think of that. I want to get Asteria Falling guitar picks, and I was talking to a couple of different people about getting it done. I like to try to stay with local
Right.
vendors for all that stuff.
I'd like to get some NEPA scene guitar picks. I think
That'd be really cool.
Oh, definitely. The only thing that sucks is when you play with them, it rubs off the stuff on the front.
That's true. Yeah.
So I have Umbriel. I had two of them because I had one that just rubbed right off. I have a Breaking Ben pick that was given to me Tinks was still around. And I would swore I would never play with it because I never wanted to rub off, and then I started playing with it. And now you can only see one B. He's just breaking.
Branjamin.
Let me give these to our lovely staff here in the corner. You guys got to get some. Here's some cups too.
They don't need cups. Jug. You could do it.
That one was really good. It was
I love that one.
it's sweeter.
Yeah, but very rich.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It tasted like eating like a little chocolate.
Yeah. It tastes like what I imagine the chocolate river in Willy Wonka. The chocolate.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
perfect. That's exactly what that tastes like.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got one more
Sweet but a little
before
earthy.
we wrap up tonight.
Ooh.
So if you have any more questions, comments, anything from the Peanut Gallery, now is your time
Yeah,
to get them in before we.
Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Maybe now is a really good time to say, if you didn't get an invite to the wedding, I'm sorry. It was so hard.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can only invite so many people.
You really could. And I mostly for like people I was working with, because it was like, who do I choose? And
Yeah.
like,
I know.
you know, it's so hard. And to keep it down to, it was supposed to be a certain number, and we went over that number anyway.
You always do. I found that no matter how
And I'm
hard
like,
you try to plan that.
Yeah.
We'll have people that'll probably say no, and I'm like, we're looking through, we're like, oh my god, my mom's gonna kill me.
Right.
But it'll be on NEPA Scene. We'll make sure everyone can see it happen.
Yeah, we'll come over and say hi and respond to comments.
I'll have to ask Lisa for maybe some pictures that we can run on the site or something.
Oh, that would be
like
cool. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. We're gonna do even more unconventional. All of our photos we're doing actually like before the wedding. He's not seeing my dress until the day of,
Oh, okay.
but we are doing the photos before the wedding part of it, because it is a Friday evening wedding. So we're just gonna get them done. So she has a really cool idea, concept for, doing everything before the wedding and everything. So it'd be cool. I'm excited. Lisa's awesome.
Well, the hardest part for Ted is already over. Because the whole proposal thing, like that's the big buildup for guys. She took care of that for
She
you.
did.
So you owe her.
Yes.
I thought it was going to happen
You don't
at
have to.
the Blocktober concert. I thought it was going to happen.
It was almost gonna happen, but it didn't happen for logistical.
Because I even like went to some of my random friends. I was like, I think he's going to ask me at the Blocktober concert. It's definitely going to happen. And then it didn't. And I was like, whatever. I guess I'll do it.
Get used to that idea.
You are
really-
marrying a stand-up comedian now. You know what?
I know.
You know what those guys are like.
Yeah, nothing's ever serious.
No.
No, you're a really, really good sweet boy.
Yeah.
I got lucky.
I'm just not great at sincerity.
A lot of sarcasm going around.
Pretty much.
That's fair.
All right.
All right. So, speaking of which, Kyle is messaging me now. Kyle, we're in the middle of a show. You leave your comment down below in the live stream like everybody else, and we will get to you in due time.
Are you getting a
Called out.
black licorice taste out of this? Or am I just crazy?
Yeah. A little bit.
This one's good.
It's got that nitro
Yeah.
thing going on.
Oh, okay. So it's
So that might have something to do with it.
Yeah.
It's like the air that they put into it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. They just use different gases in the brewing process now. Like,
Yeah. Nitro is like a big thing now. I'm not sure that I'm exactly a fan of it. Sometimes I think it works. With other beers, it doesn't. It kind of, it almost makes it flat in certain ways.
Yeah.
This one, it doesn't do that too.
No.
Trogs is, I went to the Beer Boys event a couple weeks ago where they had a Trogs takeover, and it was, you could try pretty much anything Trogs had out, plus like stuff they haven't ever released and things like that. It was like crazy event. It was a lot of fun. They do tons of tap takeovers there, and that one in particular was great because it was a semi-local brewery because they're like from Hershey area, and everything was
that is, I thought this chocolate tasted familiar.
I feel like are they using Hershey, and if not, they should be.
Yeah, that's old man Milton's recipe. As I live and breathe.
Yeah.
So before we wrap up, one of the things we want to get to, what do you think are now the music scenes have and the comedy scene? I've seen more and more of you guys getting together, which is really great. Literally in your case, but figuratively as well. Doing more and more events together and stuff like that. Like this one that you guys have coming up at the Keys. You're doing some music. You have some comedy. Let's see. I'll read off the whole list. It's R.J. McCarthy, Eric Drexler, Adam Munino, Thomas the Red, Russell Austin, Matt Cerniak, and your host Elliot Elliott, we've had on the show before. Saturday, February 24th at 8 p.m. Do you see more of those types of shows coming along, and do you think that helps the scene overall in some way? Or
I think so. I mean, I think it can really only be a boon to the people involved in it, because especially like when the scene was like first coming together, you would see like if you could open for a band as a comedian or open for a comedy show as a band,
right?
Then obviously the exposure is great, and for the flow of the show, I think like you can have music and comedy in the same night as long as they're like discreet. Open mics, it's different because like the vibe is constantly changing anyway.
Sure.
But I think like in that sense, like having music up front, it helps to get people used to the concept of this is the microphone, this is the stage, there's stuff happening over here.
Right.
Point your attention this way. So then when you get through the music and then it's just the schmucks up there, then you're like, oh, okay, well at least I know where the sound is coming from.
Right.
That particular show though, I'm really excited for. I think that's a really cool concept that he's doing.
Yeah, it's so it's like random events. Is that the idea? Is that it's supposed to be just random?
Yeah, definitely you don't want to oversaturate doing that. But I also think for a place like the Keys, having the music and then the comedy right after, it's perfect for pretty much what he just said.
So it really depends on the venue. Is what you're
I think so, definitely. I can see it at a place like having a comedy show with a band opening at a place like the V Spot would be much harder.
right, because it's not the same crowd.
No.
Different.
Usually people go to the
going
V
to
Spot.
different
Yeah,
events.
they're there for like, oh, it's behind the gray.
Right.
And like we're gonna rock out.
The
like,
party vans are very big there. Like
Yeah.
the dance kind of bands and metal
Yeah.
is very big there. So a lot of times if you're doing that type of thing, that's if you're doing comedy, it's a totally different.
But I'll tell you what though, like it's the box of broken toys, right? You
Yep.
guys who've been taking over the Keys, and they really do an awesome job. Like they get this little stage that makes Eric Drexler look like a normal person. I stole that from somebody else. It might have been you. It might have been Russell. Who knows? Anyway, it's the beer. But they have the chairs, and all those chairs get filled out with people, and then there's people in the back. Like, you guys do a really good job. It's awesome to see it, see that happen, Because before NEPA Scene, like, I didn't see much of comedy. I didn't even know any comedians at all in this area.
And you know what, like I did when I was doing other publications and other events and things like that before NEPA Scene started, I didn't see a lot of comedy. So I felt like when we started doing the open mics and getting the comedians, I was like, Jesus, like I was missing out on a lot of stuff. Like there's a lot of great talented people, but the struggle is getting them, getting the audience on your side to pay attention. And I think you guys are really good at that, at getting people to pay attention, to get into the show and stuff like that and appreciate it in a different way.
I think probably the one that's got it down the best is the Viking, because it doesn't matter what you're doing in that bar. As soon as he walks in, you're like, what is he doing? I want to know.
Right.
Yes.
He's the best. I can see him do his act 100 times and it'll never be boring. I think it's awesome.
Yeah. It really is like an attention grabber. I love being on stage when he walks in.
Yeah.
Because you could just watch people's focus just ripple away. Like,
Yes.
it's like, okay, yes, I appreciate your thoughts about the Ninja Turtles, but there's a dude with a shield over here. And I'm very curious about this.
Right. And then, all the phones go up, everybody
Yep.
starts taking pictures and videos and stuff, which can only be good overall because, you're spreading the word about, this random stuff going on. But, and I did see, the one night, it was a different open mic, different event altogether, something we weren't involved with. But somebody was kind of posting almost like, oh, there's some weird fucker here with a Viking thing going on, like on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I was friends with them on Facebook, and I was like, I'm going to correct you, motherfucker, and be like, he's a very talented comedian. You should actually pay attention to what he's doing as a performance art instead of just saying, oh, look at this weird fucker over here, like that type of shit. You know, and you get that ignorance is tough to fight, especially in an area that can be very cynical, you know, that kind of dismisses everything, unless it's, you know, fed to them, which, you know, going back to something we've said a million times, a lot of those bands that came out of here that are huge now, Breaking Ben being the perfect example, how many times have those guys played at empty rooms or rooms where nobody fucking paid attention, everybody is just drinking and wolf, whatever, fuck these guys. And then when they get, you know, signed and they've these huge albums and they're, you know, touring the country and everything else, then everyone's like, oh yeah, I was a fan the whole time. Yeah, I was there at all this. No, you weren't. You didn't pay attention and you didn't give a shit until they were huge and someone else told you that they were good. You know, so I feel like more people should actually try to find these acts before they blow up, because there's so many more coming out of here all the time, constantly, that are being, you know, written up in major magazines and touring the country and sometimes the world that people don't even know about. Captain We're Sinking just broke up. They've been around for 12 fucking years. People are like, who? What? Fuck.
I know, right?
These guys toured all over. These guys were big. They were signed to Run for Cover Records, major record label, like major indie record label. You know, like, pay attention before these guys break up.
Seriously. And then you hear them on Spotify or whatever, like, oh no, they've broken up. Gosh darn.
Yeah, exactly. We do have Sean Smith says congrats to both of you.
Thank you, Sean
Thank
Smith.
you.
And so does Milton Martinez. He says congrats to the happy couple.
Thank you, Milton.
Well, is there anything else that we wanted to get to before we wrapped up here? You have a new single coming out sometime soon?
Yes. Like I said, I'm working with Kalima, Ray, and Jamie are helping us out recording. We pretty much have 80% of it done.
Okay.
I want to say. I wasn't even going to release the band name until that came out, but before the wedding it should be out.
Okay. So, you know, like the page, Asteria Falling on Facebook.
Yes.
And Ted, what are you up to other than this event coming up?
Truthfully, these days, my end goal is to put together a coherent hour by like the summer, and not necessarily to have it like shot or anything, but I just want to. I'm trying to get everything arranged and get it just sort of thematically appropriate to forge into a single piece of whatever.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of flow charts, a lot of Venn diagrams.
Yeah.
So that.
When we get our own place, we're gonna have a whole wall that's just a whiteboard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just telling jokes. People think that you just come up with this stuff and just say it. Like there's a whole process to that, you know, a whole writing. And I know that you're more of a student of comedy in the sense that you're really listening to the greats and trying to get how to do this kind of stuff. It's not just a matter of like, I'm going to get up, say a couple of jokes in front of my friends and leave. Like you're taking it more seriously.
Yeah, like I'm kind of struggling to because I'm like 6 years in now, so I'm kind of at the point where I'm beginning to understand the fundamentals of comedy.
Right.
So like now I'm trying to polish up like the theme, get the message, if there is a message, determine what it's going to be and how to phrase it, and then just kind of adjust the existing material accordingly.
Well, good luck to you, sir. I know you're a funny guy, and I've watched you develop as a comedian over the last couple of years, and you know I love what I'm seeing. I love the first show that you guys did when we were at the Irish Cultural Center.
Oh my gosh,
how many years ago?
That was such a weird
show, but it was so fun.
Yes.
And like the people really liked it.
They did, yeah. And I thought for sure that they were going to be so stodgy, but they really came out of their shells. They had such a good time that night.
So cheers to the Irish, you know.
Yes, to the Cultural Society. Have us back.
Yeah, we would love to do another show like that again. It was a weird thing where my father knew somebody who worked there or was like a part of the organization and was like, hey, can you guys put a comedy show together? I'm like, well, I know some comedians. So. And I think Zach Hammond was the one who recommended you. So.
Yeah, oh yes.
Kelly
Shout out
says,
Zach.
Kelly says it's the last Saturday of every month at the Wonderstone Gallery.
Oh, please,
By the way,
please check that out. There are a lot of other, open mics besides what we're doing, and please pay attention to those artists because they are up and comers doing a lot of good stuff, and you're gonna miss out if you don't pay attention to those types of things. So. Come to the Keys in a couple weeks.
Yeah, definitely. The Keys, the Wonderstone, anywhere that there's like original music or comedy is going on around you, especially at open mics, because like so much stuff is just designed by marketing directors now.
Right.
Like you go to the shows where people are doing it for nothing because that's how you know that it's pure. Like if that makes any sense.
And support the stuff that has their finger on the pulse, not people who are still trying to do events at venues that are no longer relevant. No names mentioned. So thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you for joining us on Valentine's Day. Whether you have a significant other or not, know that you can find love pretty much anywhere, even an open mic of all places.
Yeah.
So. Pretty fun, cool story. Thank you guys for sharing that
Thanks
with
for
us.
having
Yeah,
us.
thank you so much for everything.
Yeah, absolutely. So, in the meantime, I will try to get ordained as a minister somehow of some weird, wacky religion that probably isn't real. And, thank you, and have a good night. We'll see you next Wednesday, 7 to 8 p.m. right here on Facebook. Please share if you're enjoying the show, if you like what we're doing. Share. Facebook is making it so difficult for us to get this stuff out to people. So the more that you guys share, the more that you guys let people know about it, the more people that can tune in. So thank you very much. And thank you to Cole Creative for having us.
Yes, thank you.
Have a good night, everybody.
NEPA Scene!